We'll get Manuel from Portugal. Okay, we're in chapter 37. Chapter 37, B'Maasenu. It's all up to us. You know, we have a pandemic going on now, and the Alter Rebbe is telling us it's all up to us. And indeed it is. Indeed it is. It's up to us. So, we'll get back to the current situation later and how we can take from Tanya a teachings and a lesson for the current situation. So, all of this is a sign for one thing, which chapter 37 is speaking about, that through our actions we can bring to the final destination. The final destination is Mashiach. In times of messianic revelation of God, that God will be able to be seen with the eye. Not with the mind's eye as we see now, as we can understand with our minds, and that's what Tanya is coming to teach us. God's realness, His presence. Mashiach means that we can literally perceive it with our physical eye. When will that happen? So the Alter Rebbe says when the general soul system of the Jewish people that is represented by 600,000 general souls, like generals of the army, so they have a whole division under them. So there's 600 general souls, which each one has a division of many, many souls. And when all of those souls will engage in what we need to accomplish, which is dealing with our world, our physical world, and our physical reality. Our physical world, meaning when we engage in doing the mitzvah, being charitable, putting on tefillin, staying away from things that we need to stay away from, non-kosher food and non-kosher talk. Then what happens is as follows. So, preface. There are 3 levels of vitality. Every moment, everything is getting vitality from God Almighty. What does it mean, getting vitality? You didn't get one's vitality. We're getting every moment, everything. A rock gets vitality. An animal gets vitality. And me and you, as human beings, get vitality every single moment. Now, the rock's vitality will not change for the most part. It'll be klipas noiga. It will be the intermediate level, right, of an admixture of good and evil. Well, let's take a better example. A cow, its vitality is klipas noiga because it's kosher. Bacon, when it's eaten by a Jew, its vitality is sholish klipas atmeas, is completely unholy, something that cannot be elevated. There's no good in it at all, right? No good in it at all in the act of eating bacon, right? There's vitality. Its vitality is completely unholy. That's the lowest level. The next level is also something that's not holy, but it's got good and evil in it and can go either way. Like a cow, the hide of the cow, the meat of the cow that's slaughtered in a kosher way and now is served on your Shabbos table, or it's served on your weekday table, right? And you're using it now for the third and highest level, the ultimate purpose, holiness. So you're using the hide of the cow to make tefillin, or using the meat of the cow to have it for your Shabbos table, or during the week that you, it's giving you strength to do a mitzvah, or it's a mitzvah itself, because the eating meat on Shabbos is a mitzvah of the pleasure of Shabbos. So what's happening? is the whole purpose is this middle ground should be elevated into holiness, right? So whether it's the hide of the animal, and this is just, the hide of the animal that's used for a mitzvah, or the meat of the animal that's used for a mitzvah, it's elevated into holiness. What will occur when we use everything ultimately in this world and is elevated to holiness? The middle ground. Now, let me preface this. Everything comes from God. There's only one God. There's only one place of vitality. And it's all coming from God's inner will of holiness that produces an outer will that gives vitality to the outer will of, the outer will is that cow that could be used for good or for bad, right? It can go either way. Its purpose is ultimately to elevate, but it can go either way, right? In other words, you could use it for not holy purposes and degrade it to the complete negative force of shalish klipas atmeas. So what happens in our world, excuse me, I don't have a cold, I don't have any symptoms, but thank God, I'm good. Baruch Hashem. Continue. God should continue to bless me. Okay? So, it's a three-rung thing, that everything comes from holiness. From the holiness, it gives vitality to the klipas noiga, and klipas noiga, which is the admixture of good and evil in it, gives vitality to complete unholiness. Complete. That's the chain. Very important to understand. At any given moment, we're getting holiness from one of those three places. If I'm saying an evil word, I'm saying a bad thing, thinking a bad thing, I'm getting for the lowest part, shalish klipas atmeas. If it's an in-between and not this way or that way, so I'm getting from klipas noiga. If it's what we're doing now, we're learning Torah. Where are we getting vitality? Every moment we're living. Every moment we're getting vitality. Right now, we're getting it from God's holiness. When we turn away from this and we go and eat something, and we eat it not for the sake to serve God, but for a negative, gluttonous purpose, so then we're degraded to shalish klipas atmeas, right? Even if it was kosher. If we just eat it, whatever, then it's the middle ground. The ultimate purpose is everything should be elevated into the holiness, and that's all of the general souls and all of the offshoots of those general souls that engage throughout the history of humanity. Engages in this and it elevates. Through that elevation, ultimately what's going to happen, and is happening, right, is that the middle ground is elevated to the holiness. Therefore, what happens is there's no room for unholy at all to get vitality. And that's how evil will be destroyed. It'll be eradicated because we have elevated everything of this world. All of the things, our food and our drink, our material things that are in our home that we use for the sake of a mitzvah. Our car, as I've explained previously, that if you use your car for the sake of a mitzvah, right? You're going to the grocery store to buy things for Shabbos, or you're buying things for the week so you could eat. But why are you eating? Just to live? Or are you eating in order that you could do good? To do a mitzvah and change the world for good? Since that's why you're eating, so even the act of going to the store and buying that food, filling up your gas tank to get and all of the things that we do will be elevated into holiness to a certain point where then evil will not have a place to nurture from. When it's all eradicated, that is Mashiach. That's our divine service. further to understand this is the descent of our soul into our body is not for the sake of the soul. Because the soul has a greater love and awe of God, a greater connection to God before it came into this world. It doesn't need to come into this world in order to have that connection, to have that love and awe of God. It has a greater one before it came here. So what's it here for? It's here to inspire the animal soul and the body and all of the things that pertain to it, which are our possessions and our things, that it should be elevated to holiness, that it should be fixed. The godly soul doesn't need to be fixed. The animal soul does need fixing, because the animal soul by itself, of course, is self-directed, self-indulgent, and it needs to be inspired by the godly soul, that the godly soul understands its purpose, understands it's all about connection to God, because that's all the godly soul is about. So therefore it doesn't need fixing. Even though it came into a body now and the body can have an effect on it, it can have an effect on it to bring it into exile, that it can not allow it to have any effect upon us, to inspire us, but it can't change it. That's its reality. So when we understand that that's why the soul came down, and that's what I have to engage in this world, in the physical reality of this world, which starts with my animal soul that gives vitality to my physical being, and that everything that I possess of a material nature is all about the spark that's there, that spark of goodness that's there that needs to be elevated. My animal soul has got a mixture of good and bad in it, right? As we explained, the animal soul isn't Attila the Hun that's complete evildoer. No, it has compassion, it has kindness, but it's self-directed. So when it's inspired by the godly soul, that it should be elevated to a place of holiness, and the engage of and everything of its material being, physical being of the body, and material possessions and things of our lives are in order to elevate it to be fixed to holiness. That's what we're here. That's what we're accomplishing. Amazing and powerful idea. So even though I don't transform my animal soul, in other words, the animal soul is still going to be an animal soul. That's going, not the righteous, like the righteous who transforms the animal soul, that it is completely attuned to the godly message. The animal soul isn't. It still has its own agenda. But its thought, speech, and action of the animal soul, its material action that is animating the body, that now the animal soul is engaged in putting on the tefillin, giving the charity, lighting the Shabbos candles, and the like. That's what needs to be fixed. That's what we need, the engagement. And the Beinoni, and all of us want to be Beinonis, have the capacity of engaging in that and transforming that part of my being. And again, when we do this in a collective manner, which the Jewish people have been doing since the Torah has been given to us, so there's something collective here, even though there may be people not engaged in it, but they are, but they're not aware. Every time a person gives charity, that's what's happening. Every time someone's doing an act of kindness, but they're not aware that what they're doing is elevating from klipas noiga into holiness. Every time someone puts on tefillin, they're lighting Shabbos candles. And where is this bringing us to? The final end, Mashiach. That's what's happening. So, that's today's class. Let's tie this in to the current situation. You know what the problem with the current situation is? It's no question that we open our eyes, we see that it's coming from above, that this is like more powerful than us. This is the power of God, no question. And it's giving us on one level an understanding that we're not in control, God's in control. Fine. Folks, I think we got that message. I hope we got that message. I'm sure we did. But it's coming to tell us more than that. That's coming from above, but ultimately Mashiach doesn't come that way. Because that's what happened at Mount Sinai. What happened at Mount Sinai? The godly light from above was so powerful that the Jews were like, well, the experience was too great when God expressed the commandments. Souls took flight. It was just too great of a light of God. So what had to happen? It has to come from within. So what is happening now is also something from above, that is too powerful in a negative way. Ultimately, we have to know that this is coming from God, and it's ultimately in order that God wants to bring us to a message that it's totally that it's dependent on me, dependent on you, each and every one of us, through our actions, through our divine service, that we can change the world, and from within, right, that I am transforming my animal soul and body and its agenda, that it's being elevated from klipas noiga, the middle ground, and using everything in my life for a higher purpose that brings it into godliness, brings it into holiness. That's what I can do. So what does it mean practically? It means putting on our tefillin, being more charitable now, recognizing that I have a hand in how I can direct and change all of this into something that's going to be not a tsunami of destruction, but a tsunami of goodness, of holiness. And we can do that when we understand what we just learned. So it gives us the capacity that, hey, it's in my hands, it's in my capability. I'm able to change the world for good. I'm able to be part of that, a spark of one of the general souls that will bring and fulfill what I need to do, and I can inspire others. How do I inspire others? Give over the message that we just learned. Whether best way is, speak with another, share the class, of course. That goes without saying. But whatever it is, it's all in our hands. We like to defer and make it, oh, okay, God, God will take care. Yeah, God takes care, but that's not the point. God's doing his, we got to do what we got to do. You think, well, if someone has faith, just have faith in God that it's all going to turn around. Of course you got to have faith that it's all going to turn around. But it doesn't, faith means that it leads us to do, to transform. To transform, my godly soul doesn't need transformation. It doesn't need fixing. Transform my animal soul. Transform everything about my physical reality and material world around me. That it's to be used for the higher purpose, to bring it into the realm of holiness. I do that, and we inspire others to do that, then evil will have no place. The true evil, the shalish klipas is complete evil, will have no place, because it will have no nurturing. It will have no place to get any vitality from. Because all the klipas noiga, which is the middle ground that gives vitality to the lower ground of shalish klipas is eradicated. Powerful idea to live with. Who did I not get to say hello to? Betty, good morning. And Cindy from Maryland, good morning. Boker Tov. Joatha from Brazil. Tim from Texas. Erica from Norway, good afternoon. Denise and Linda from New York. Welcome. Ariel from Nevada. Jason, good. Shalom. Elise. Thank you for joining. Karen from Miami, good morning. Latcha from Montreal, welcome. Karen from Florida. Karen asks, how do you speak to people who say, if there's a God, how could all this trouble be happening? What do you answer? Thank you, Karen. I guess, you know what, have them tune into this class. What's happening to all of you that are listening now? And, you know, even if you came for the first time, what's happening? What's happening to you? What's happening to all of us? Our minds are changing. We're all Chabadniks. Chabad is Chachma Bina V'das, wisdom, understanding, and knowledge. Yalter Rebbe is giving us a 180-degree turnabout on how to see things, how to perceive the world. And it's hard to give a one-word answer or a one-minute answer. Karen, you've been joining us for a while, a long while, and many of you, Karen, you're the one asking the questions. That what is happening is you have a complete turnabout on how you perceive things, how you perceive yourself, how you perceive God, how you perceive what's going on. And we're not sugarcoating, you know, yeah, there's challenges out there. There's troubles. There's no question. We're not denying that there's a lot of pain and suffering out there. Well, okay. So do I focus on that, or I focus on my actions? That's what God creates from above. But then he's saying that it's up to me from down here below. So of course there's the actions we have to take, washing our hands and, being social distancing, or even today, it's even more than that. It's about isolation and so on and so forth. Those are the actions we take, but that's the external intent. The internal desire is that we should perceive this as that we have actions that we have to take, that this is to bring us closer. And when there's so many different things that we've mentioned throughout the last week or so, that each class I've tried to tie it in with the current situation, that it indeed, I would suggest that probably most of you, are perceiving it in a healthier perspective, because your minds are now, from Tanya, have been shaped and molded in a way that you see things differently. So how do you tell someone who isn't holding by where you're holding and where all of us are holding in our perspective? In a brief, is that, this is what comes just to mind at the moment, and perhaps I'm sure there's more to this. We cannot just look at the world with our physical eyes and see the reality based on our physical eyes and our five senses. As a matter of fact, we don't actually lead our lives that way. Think about so many things in our lives that we do it how come? Like, why did I do that act of kindness? Is it because of my five senses that brought me to it? Probably not. Why did I have compassion? Why did I do good? The physical eye won't lead you to doing good, because the physical eye will only lead to you to be so self-indulgent and self-interest, because what you see with your physical eyes are people who are just only caring about themselves. So it must be that we also live our lives with our mind's eye, which is connected to our soul. And our soul sees the world in a different reality. So most people have abdicated their choice, and a lot of people at least have abdicated their choice and only see the world through their physical eyes. But you know what? Your mind's eye that's connected to your soul has a different reality. And we could choose, through being connected to our soul and the reality of that soul and how it's connected to God, to see a different reality. I invite you to come, learn some Tanya, learn some Torah, whether it's Tanya with me, fine, if elsewhere, also wonderful, wherever it is, and that you could be open to a different reality. You live actually your life not just by your physical eye, but your mind's eye that's connected to your soul, but you're not aware of it. I invite you to become aware of a deeper part of your being, of your life, that you could connect to and be conscious and aware of it, rather than just, happen to be living based on your soul without awareness. I hope that helps you, Karen. I hope that helps everybody. Diana. Rachel from New Jersey. Thank you. Justin, thank you for joining. Amy. Elise. Tillam for Aliza Basbatsheva. Okay, she should be gesund and well. And all those that need a speedy recovery, they should be well. Yeah, our hearts go out to them. Laura from Nashville, Tennessee. Andrea. Okay. Margot from Orange County, University of Southern California. Hello. Barbara. Okay. Jane. Good Woch. All right. I think I got everybody. If I missed somebody. All right. Bring people to learn Tanya. Share the class. Don't be bashful. I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine, coming to you from Chabad Zich and Kadeshim in Montreal, Canada, here at my home. Wishing you a wonderful day, a good Woch, a good week, a Shavua Tov, a healthy one. Stay safe, be strong, trach good, v'zayin good, think good, it'll be good. We have in our hands what we can do. We can change the world for good and bring Mashiach. All the best.